I just wanted to make a quick video with some slight improvements to the tier list that I made last time, and not just aesthetic changes like the better image for the gadgets here, green gadget instead of yellow gadget. But let's start off. I just played Dark World in my Duelist Crown tournament series, and this was the deck that I probably had the least practice with out of most or all of these decks. And it's not so much that I think that this deck is bad. The deck definitely has power plays, but I feel as though it's better categorized as rogue. It's again, it is powerful, but your plays are difficult to make. You're playing off of the top cards of your deck some of the time. I definitely made some misplays. I could have played better, um, but ultimately, I think for everyone coming into HAP format, you would be best to stay away from this deck unless you're really passionate about Dark Worlds. You really enjoy playing Dark Worlds, and then you might have a better time piloting them than myself. Now that said, I do think that I shortchanged Raccoons last time, so Raccoons I'm going to put up here in tier 3, despite, maybe not having tops yet. But I do plan on coming out with a video of my way to play Raccoons, so look out for that. Smash the subscribe button if you're interested in that coming up. But I do think Raccoons belongs up here with these decks. And then I have some new images here I wanted to add in. So I did mention last time how I thought Beals, or really this is representing anything that can make Beals, most likely Chaos Sworn or Zombies, some version of Zombies with Soul Charge can play this card. Definitely still Rogue, definitely still going to be challenges for decks on this plane, but still something you can play, and something that even a turn 1 Beals can even be surprising for, like artifact trap tricks. And then I didn't have Heraldic Beasts last time, but this deck is probably more accurately tier 3 than Rogue. It's a rank 4 Axis deck. The only rank 4 decks that I have below tier 3, but still worth mentioning, are the rank 4 Gishkis and then the Battle and Boxers. But I definitely think that Heraldic Beasts and Gadgets, and then if you were to play some sort of rank 4 Firefist variant, that those decks have some edges against these decks. Heraldic Beasts can accrue advantage quite nicely, and I've seen one player in particular play discard traps in this deck to success. The Heraldic Beasts work well with Kageto Kage, from what I understand, and then you do have a spell that is a 1-card XYZ from Monsters in Your Grave, which is pretty handy. And I believe even if you DD Crow one of the 2 targets for that spell, it will still summon the XYZ with just the 1 material. So that is definitely an interesting deck. Maybe not the most dominating deck we've got here, but still something. And then I have Chain Strike here to represent Chain Burn, or just any burn. Something you can definitely try to play, but it's going to be tough. I mean, just the first thing that comes to mind is like the Spellbook matchup. If Spellbook of Fate is just hitting one of your traps in the end phase when you set it every turn, you're just never going to get anywhere. But maybe against something like Mermail, where you can just chain to their marksman targets, or even like Lightsworn, unless they have Decree, I guess. But something that can surprise people, but definitely Rogue. And then Hunters, for simply being rank 4s, you could put them in 3. Arguably could put them in Rogue. I think I'm going to have to put them in Rogue, because when I've played this deck, whether you play the Watts, whether you don't play the Watts, whether you're playing Thunder Seahorse, you're probably playing Thunder Seahorse, the deck can just be slow, and you're kind of telegraphing your plays, and you want to be making a rank 4 every turn, but you're not always able to do that. So it can be stunted, but being able to attack directly with like a Watt Giraffe and then Dark Hole afterward with no interruption or something like that. There are definitely plays with this deck in addition to the rank 4s. So maybe could be tier 3. A lot of these tier 3 decks and rogue decks might be interchangeable. I just tried to separate them by the power that I understand them to be at, and these should be just like slightly above, but they're all decks that are not super prevalently played because of their consistency and lack of power compared to the top half of this list. But I plan on delving into most of the decks, if not all of the decks on this list, to kind of get further into what the deck does and how it can get wins. And then the last thing I want to change on this list is to say, yes, we talked about how Infernity is up here, but now that we are hopefully more familiar with Infernity, well, my plan is for my next video to really cover Infernity so that we are knowledgeable. But once we have respected that Infernity could be up here, we are now more realistically putting it at tier 1 because it is more on the plane of these decks in terms of being able to be beaten, being able to beat you. So yeah, definitely going to have to learn everything about Infernity to demote it here, but I think it's worth remembering that it is the only one on this level that could theoretically be up here on the 0.95 level if you're not giving it that preparation and respect. So that is it. This is where I've got the list right now. Please, if there's a deck that you think should be on this list, no matter whether you think it's tier 2 or rogue or wherever, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely think about its place on the tier list. Thanks for watching.